The ebb and flow of 5,000 years of human history has witnessed the rise and fall of once splendid ancient civilizations, among which only the Chinese civilization survived. China created an era of prosperity where nations across the world sent envoys to China in reverence. The country was honored as the Celestial Empire. Its culture profoundly affected the entire East Asia, forming a cultural circle in the Greater China region. The opening of the Silk Road, as well as the spread of the four major inventions to the west, facilitated the development of world civilization, resulting in the Renaissance in Europe and the discovery of the new continent. The Chinese nation also encountered many ordeals and tribulations, especially in the contemporary era. Domestic troubles and foreign invasions wreaked constant havoc. In the mid-20th century, ever since the communist spectre from the West usurped political power in China, it has been killing people, destroying culture, and damaging the environment. As a result, the mountains and rivers are ruined, countless lives were lost in massacres. The once glorious civilization fell into darkness and was almost destroyed completely. Even after the Communist Party seized power, it has been waging various political campaigns and even launched the unprecedented Cultural Revolution. Why? Why does the Chinese Communist Party view Chinese people and culture as its enemy, and would not be satisfied until they are eliminated? Why in the past century did China become the most tightly controlled and most brutally persecuted nation by the Communist spectre? This book, The Ultimate Goal of Communism, reveals for the first time that communism is not a trend of thought, nor a doctrine, nor a failed attempt of human beings to find a way out. It is the devil, also known as the spectre of communism. It is composed of hatred and various degenerated substances from the lowest planes of the universe. Its ultimate goal is to destroy mankind. The most evil means the communist spectre has used to destroy mankind is to destroy the divine culture imparted by the Creator for saving sentient beings. This divine culture is the traditional Chinese culture. Over 4,000 years ago, a global flood put humanity at the brink of extinction. Each race and ethnicity have recollections about this flood. Very few people survived as they became the seed for humans to reproduce. In Chinese history, it was during Emperor Yao's reign when the Great Flood swept the earth. As the monstrous flood submerged many high mountains, the Chinese nation as a whole fortunately survived, and preserved the glorious civilization of remote ages, including the Taiji, Hertul, Luoshu diagrams, the Book of Changes, Bagua, and so on, which today's people find hard to understand. According to records from ancient to present, when Emperor Yao was holding a heaven-worshipping ceremony, the divine being revealed its image in front of Yao and told him, "The flood arrives to endanger the human world. You must save the people." As such, the legend of Great Yu taming the flood began. The era of Emperor Yao, Emperor Shun, and Emperor Yu is known as the beginning of the Chinese nation's recovery from the devastating flood. The Great Yu's governance of China created a new living environment for the Chinese people, who have flourished till the present. This is the divine's special blessing to the Chinese nation. Without the protection of the divine, the Chinese nation, like all other nations in the world, could not have survived the disaster. The divine deliberately chose the Chinese nation among many ethnic groups, and bestowed upon it the divine culture, also known as the semi-divine culture. Of course, it was to prepare for even greater arrangements afterwards. Different dynasties of China had different territories. In its essence, China is called the Middle Kingdom, not because of the geographical concept, but it carries the meaning of the nation in the center. Aspects of the Chinese culture stem from divine arrangements, such as its status, characteristics, structure, and elements. The land of China is a unique place. chosen by the gods to be the central kingdom, the starting place where the great way of salvation will be spread. Therefore, everything about China, from the surface level natural environment and population distribution to historical development, cultural establishment, as well as the existence of various religions and cultivation methods, are the orderly arrangements by the gods. In the long history of China, the Creator reincarnated as sage rulers, intellectuals, Buddhist monks, Dalits priests, martial arts masters, government counselors, and great military commanders, in order to lead the people with extraordinary origins, to establish living environments for the people in the divine land, to regulate moral standards, to enrich thoughts, to pioneer righteous culture, and to establish the rule of law. As such, each dynasty played out on the stage one after another, featuring unique emperors and people, distinct culture, clothing, customs, as well as special connotation and characteristics. This eventually evolved into a magnificent and comprehensive layout of 5,000 years of divine culture. Emperors and chancellors such as the Qin dynasty's first emperor Yin Zheng, the Han dynasty emperor Han Wu, Emperor Cao Cao, Chancellor Zhuge Liang, the Tang dynasty emperor Taizong, the Yuan dynasty emperors Genghis Khan, the Ming dynasty emperor Yongle, the Qing dynasty emperor Kangxi were known for expanding China's territory, establishing ties with neighboring countries and ethnic groups, and spreading traditional Chinese culture to faraway land. The Qing and Han dynasties reunified the 6 states, opened up the region to the west, conquered the Wuhuan in the north and the Nanman in the south. During the 2 Jin dynasties and the northern and southern dynasties, there was a massive southern relocation of nobles to the Yangtze River Valley. During the Sui and Tang dynasties, neighboring ethnic groups interacted with the central kingdom in various ways. Some claimed affiliation and paid tributes, some waged wars, some tied with marriages and resulting peace deals, and others came to study or do business. The 2 Song dynasties, who founded the Liao and Jin kingdoms, Genghis Khan unified the vast desert land and made an exhibition to Europe. Emperor Yongle of the Ming dynasty sent envoys on voyages across the ocean, with all sentient beings taken into consideration. The divine systematically arranged and saw to it that traditional Chinese culture spread all across the world, in an effort to lay the foundation for universal values. Chinese traditional culture connects to heaven. In the Chinese tradition, the Chinese character heaven bears much more significance than nature as understood by modern people. Heaven is a living entity, and everything between heaven and earth is called Zao Hua, which refers to everything that has been created, transformed, and cultivated. The one who created, transformed, and cultivated everything is the ruler of the universe, heaven and earth, and is called Heavenly King, or more commonly known as the Old Grandpa Heaven, which refers to the highest of all gods. Chinese people call their homeland the Land of the Divine, and call the Emperor the Son of Heaven. The destiny of human beings is to return to the heavenly kingdoms of the divine through moral ascension. The divine will is called heavenly will. All living beings below heaven and above earth live by the heavenly will. It is thus called the heavenly way. The divine will manifests through cosmic signs. In Chinese culture, the heavenly king punishes and warns those who turn away from the divine will by casting natural disasters, and rewards those who are virtuous and follow the will of the divine with auspicious signs. The heaven also arranges for sages to descend to the human realm and teach people how to read and understand the cosmic signs and the heavenly will. The Book of Changes, Shizi Part 1 says, "The divine manifests the cosmic changes to show omens of good fortune. The sages follow the cosmic changes. The diagram comes from the Yellow River, and the book from the Luo River." In common terms, this means that sages follow the divine will to show people the cosmic changes, cosmic culture, thereby forming ideology, faith, and actions of people, even all the way to the most surface-level manifestation of fundamental human morality, ethics, disciplines, rules, regulations. In this way, cosmic culture is transformed into human culture, which is the very origin of Chinese civilization. These sages who have played the role throughout Chinese civilization are themselves either divine beings or semi-divine beings, just as the Chinese character sage depicts. These beings are kings who understand the divine will and create human culture below. Among them are divine beings such as Pangul, Nuwa, Fuxi, and Shenlong, the Yellow Emperor, Emperor Yao, Shen, and Yu. They were humans with divine conduct, according to ancient records. After the Yellow Emperor, honored as the original ancestor of human culture, completed his mission of teaching the people on earth, he enlightens to the dull and levitated in broad daylight back to his heavenly home. His story gave humans a culture of cultivation, which provides human beings a path to the divine. After the Yellow Emperor ascended, people built the Temple of the Yellow Emperor on Mount Qiang, where his clothes are kept to the present day. In the ensuing dynasties, divine beings continued to descend and incarnate as sacred emperors and kings of Chinese people. Over a long period of time, they gradually established and enriched the system of divinely inspired culture in China. Chinese culture stems from the wisdom of the divine, with broad and profound inner meanings, imbued. After the Great Flood, sage rulers Yao, Shun, and Yu came into the human world bearing wisdom from the ancestors to rectify the order of the four seasons, tame the environment, balance yin and yang, eradicate demons, and create the living environment for mankind, with supreme virtue to govern the world. With morality at the core, these sage rulers established a cultural system based on the oneness of heaven and man, and thus built the grand stage in the divine land of China. The Xia and Shang dynasties were eras when immortals and mortals coexisted. Various gods and sages passed on to humans cultures, skills, morals, and thoughts. From the Western Zhou to the Qin dynasty, in over 800 years of vicissitudes, there were turbulences among the 5 lords and 7 warring states. The first emperor of Qin dynasty, under the right cosmic timing, earthly conditions, unified the lands to establish the first united Chinese dynasty, the Qin dynasty. Emperor Wu of Han dynasty expanded the lands through military to conquer the far west region. Domestically, Emperor Wu regulated the government and laid the foundation for the Han culture that lasts for thousands of years. His expansion to the west also spread the Chinese culture throughout Eurasia. Throughout the next 2,000 years up to the Qing dynasty, the Qin and Han empirical government system and paradigm continued to be practiced. The great Emperor Taizong of the Tang dynasty, with his unprecedented wisdom and legendary abilities at war, eradicated enemies, stabilized the heartland, and unified China. The Chinese civilization reached its peak. The great Tang dynasty, ruled by a great emperor, exerted its influence throughout the world. Its generosity was broad and immense. The extent of the Tang dynasty's magnificence and the way it projects confidence were so impressive that its incredible influence and unparalleled glory have been shining throughout history until today. At the beginning of the 13th century, Genghis Khan, the founder of the Mongol Empire, conquered the West and swept through Europe and Asia, laid the foundation of the European countries, and brought the Chinese culture to everywhere within his reach. Consequently, Europe enjoyed centuries of cultural and artistic renaissance, which directly contributed to the rapid progress of Western civilization. Emperor Shizu Hu Bilie founded the Yuan dynasty and ruled the central land of China for a century. The territory of Yuan dynasty expanded far beyond that of the Han and Tang dynasties, connected with the greater world stage, and determines the layout of the entire world. The sage rulers such as Emperor Yongle of Ming dynasty and Emperor Kangxi of Qing dynasty were people of great virtue and wisdom, as well as masters of both pen and sword. Gaining the sincere admiration and respect, they accomplished the vast sea voyage and conquered Mongolia and Russia. Chinese culture, profound. The divine beings in the universe consist of Buddhas, Dals, as well as other forms of gods. Therefore, they have been continuously establishing the concepts of Buddhas, Dals, and gods, as well as the concepts of cultivation practices in the Chinese culture. In the meantime, They lay the foundation for human ethics and universal values, such as virtue, benevolence, righteousness, propriety, wisdom, and faithfulness. China's dynasties, under the blessings of the gods, established and perfected the culture and thoughts for humanity. The other ethnic groups that entered the central land of China, such as the Mongolians and the Manchurians, have all benefited from the education of traditional Chinese culture. The essence of their culture, too, was incorporated into the Chinese nation and thus became a part of Chinese culture. The cultures of all nations have recorded that the Creator will surely come to save all people at the end of times. If this is true, the reason the Creator chose the Chinese culture of immense tolerance to spread the great way of salvation, to save people of all ethnicities and faiths, is easy to understand. On the one hand, this culture enables people of different origins, cultural backgrounds, and faiths to understand the elements of the great way of salvation. On the other hand, spreading the great way of salvation in such a culture makes it easier for people with different religious beliefs to accept. Certainly, from another perspective, the culture of such great inclusivity, enrichment, and depth must have been systematically arranged by the Creator since remote ages. It has accumulated, developed, and inherited step by step till today, for the very purpose of saving all sentient beings at the last havoc of humanity. In the middle of the 19th century, aided by technological strength stemming from the Industrial Revolution, Western civilization forced open the gates to China with military power. Later on, China fell into chaos, with one unrest after another. A spectre from the West took the opportunity to infiltrate into China, and brutally destroyed the Chinese culture to the brink of extinction. The Communist Party, after years of political campaigns, the decade-long Cultural Revolution, various violent suppressions of religions, and the indoctrination of the Communist Party culture and atheism, brainwashed the younger generations in China to no longer have any belief. The Communist Party also silenced the older generation through killing and suppression. Many traditional buildings, monuments, temples, artifacts, cultural relics, and so on were destroyed. The connection between human beings and the divine was further severed. However, the destruction of religions does not mean that the people cannot be awakened by the divine. The profound meaning and strong vitality of the traditional Chinese culture, which have been laid down by the divine as a foundation for human beings, are fully manifested at this time. After the Cultural Revolution, Chinese people had almost lost all faith and were living an extremely poor cultural life with a spiritual void. "Hey, General Yue is here. Come greet him. Hurry up." However, when legendary stories such as the legends of Generals Young, Romance of the Three Kingdoms, and Water Margin, etc. were broadcasted on the radio, the streets became deserted. Everyone stayed home and listened attentively. Even the police did not have to be on duty. It is the accumulation of divine culture over thousands of years that rekindles the righteous thoughts and long-cherished memories in the hearts of the people. Why do people admire the righteousness in the Romance of the Three Kingdoms? Liu Bei, Guan Yu, and Zhang Fei lived righteously as sworn brothers. Their stories were admired and followed by generations. Their character and conduct in putting morality ahead of personal gains and protecting justice even at the cost of their own lives are well known. Chancellor Zhuge Liang assisted Liu Bei, sparing no efforts until death, setting a model for future generations of chancellors. Zhuge Liang is deemed as the #1 virtuous chancellor of all ages. King Wu of Wei, Cao Cao, was talented in military strategies. He won wars and unified the northern lands. He recognized Liu Bei as a hero and did not take advantage of him in his vulnerable moment. He kept his promise to release Guan Yu. He won the respect of all people with his act of propriety. The righteousness depicted in the legends of the Three Kingdoms played an important role in establishing morality, proper human character and conduct, which is the core of the Chinese traditional culture. Why are people so touched by the loyalty of generals Yang Yanzhao and Yue Fei? In the Northern Song dynasty, General Yang Yanzhao intimidated enemies. The legend of the woman warriors of the Yang family is soul-stirring. In the Southern Song dynasty, General Yue Fei fought hundreds of battles, undefeated. When he was about to recover all the lost lands, General Yue Fei was betrayed by Qin Hui and was murdered at the Fengbo Pavilion. The stories of General Yang Yanzhao and Yue Fei have become legends by listening to the story and watching plays. Even illiterate Chinese people who cannot read history books can discern the evil, respect loyalty, and spread the stories through word of mouth to educate descendants. The divine laid down the inner meaning of culture and the foundation of morality to pave the path of renewal for human beings. It is the only path for people to understand the cosmic message manifested by the divine at the most perilous moment. When humanity loses the culture, along with the character and conduct of morality, human beings would fail to understand the divine Saviour, nor the great way of salvation spread by the divine. Consequently, human beings would lose the last opportunity to be saved. Traditional Chinese culture is established by the Creator for saving sentient beings at the end of times. This is the special arrangement as well as the mission of traditional Chinese culture.